Okay, so the run is done for the day already, hence into the business threads. Time to get down to it. Today we're gonna talk about something scary, and that's buyer mistakes. I've come across a lot of buyers that said, you know what, we wish we had known this. We only realized it after we bought. I'm gonna give you the top 3 things I think are super important when it comes to not making those same buyer mistakes. And as usual, make sure you stick around for item number 3 because it's something so simple, but it'll make a huge difference to your peace of mind and your bottom line. And if you're new to the channel, I'm Jeff Tincher. I'm a real estate agent here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I have a network across this great nation. And listen, if you like videos like this, I'd love you to subscribe, give me a comment, give a like, get into the conversation. That helps this channel do really, really well. And if you want to get into anything further, there's a Calendly link below. Just simply click on it, book a call with me. We can talk about just about anything real estate and go from there. All right, so the first buyer mistake you'll want to avoid is actually making an impulse buy based on not fully understanding the location of where you're purchasing. And what I mean by that is do your due diligence. Don't get suddenly sucked into the idea and the romanticism of something you heard about in the media or your best friend told you about. You really need to know things like, are there established schools there? How long is that commute going to be? And if it's in a neighborhood where schools are coming, how far away is that build time? I had an example with me and my wife where we found a beautiful house in an amazing area and we were just about to pull the trigger until we learned that the actual designated schools were where we're currently living now. It would have meant about a 15-minute commute each way with our kids that we just didn't want to absorb into the day. Now we're within walking distance to that school because at first we decided we wanted a particular area, but I'm living proof that if you actually take away the sexiness, we'll call it, when you're distracted by the home or what's there and you don't fully know what's around you. Are you too close to the park? Do you have a park close enough where the kids can play? Is there a bus stop that's nearby that you didn't catch before? Lean on your agent, lean on people you trust, but also don't be afraid to walk the area. Drive by at different days and times that could be nighttime, could be daytime, high traffic, low traffic, so that you have a better understanding. You don't make that mistake of being like, well, we don't want to be here anymore, but we're kind of stuck because we already committed to it. The second buyer mistake you'll want to avoid at all costs, pun intended, is not factoring in what your actual property closing costs will be. And this means that when you make a sale, you need to understand that of course there's lawyer costs, there's moving costs, but how much are those closing costs going to be together along with your mortgage so that you have enough money to be able to cover everything? Recently, for example, the province of Alberta announced that they are going to be upping the price of land transfer title to the tune of, when you have something like a $500,000 property sale, your transfer fees are going to go from something like around $400 in those closing costs to as much as $900. And keep in mind that it's based on the price of the property that you're purchasing. So if it's higher than that, expect that you'll pay more than that. If you do not factor these things in, if you don't properly shop around and work with your agent to find the right lawyer, to find the right services that you need so that you budget that in, that's something that can leave you very frustrated and obviously costing you a lot that you weren't expecting. I've talked with buyers that before they worked with me, they said, Jeff, one of the #1 complaints or concerns that we have was we made the mistake of not factoring that in and we had to pay $1,000 or $2,000 more for our closing costs. Well, guess what? That also factors into the furniture that you wanted to purchase to furnish the place. It factors into your overall living expenses and it can make things very stressful if you don't factor that in. And the third buyer mistake that is also scary, I find it scary, is buyers and their agents who don't schedule a property possession walkthrough within 24 hours or more before they actually take possession. This can be very important to your bottom line because let's say you're scheduled to take possession at noon on a certain day and you get there at 11 a.m. and you realize, oh my goodness, the stove is missing. There's a bunch of junk that we didn't expect to have here. It's not left turnkey and clean. Then you go back to your lawyer and you say, well, they didn't leave it clean, but the money's already transferred. All of a sudden, guess what? The seller says to heck with it. You're stuck now with this $200 or $300 bill to clean up all the garbage that's still there. You're stuck with the fact that too bad, so sad. You can take us to small claims court because we're not gonna put that stove back. We took it out. So super important to do that walkthrough so that the day before, so that you can talk to your lawyer and say, look, this place is not left the same way that we found it. There's going to be costs incurred to that, and you can do a holdback before the money actually transfers to ensure that the sellers take responsibility for the things that aren't left how they're supposed to be left. As always, those are my thoughts, not yours. I'd love to hear what you have to say about it. Do you have any buyer mistakes that you've experienced in your buyer journey? Simply comment below and let's have a conversation about it. Thank you very much for watching.